Do 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 do. Preezy. You're welcome, Beyonce. Call me. Man. What? I'm the #1 Fantastic Beast.
Are you whatever with the good hair?
Becky?
Yeah.
What do you mean whatever? A cultural timestamp.
Yeah. Name 3 other songs.
All right, just give me a second, okay? I can name you.
Beyonce fucking sucks.
Wow, whoa, unpopular opinion.
I remember also, hey, to be fair too, I remember when everyone shit themselves over 444 too, and that fucking sucked too. Yeah, since 2016 or whatever.
Since 2016. A hot 7 years have gone by.
That was a long time ago.
Damn. What a wild time.
That has passed since then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of nothing happened for the whole world. And then everything happened.
I think that, like, it's weird because I think that because I was alive, it feels like the shift was so, like, the shift of how things changed were, like, so gradual. But when you think back, you're just like, man, that was a different time.
Yeah.
And it's less of like things specifically changed. I mean, besides the pandemic, but it's more like, man, the vibes were different.
Everyone is double depressed.
They really changed.
Yeah.
Since 2016. I wonder why.
Well, just complicated houseplants.
Yeah. There's really probably no answer. There's no large mega corporations we could point to who have changed the way that people act and behave. And no political entities or specific people who
have caused us to
who've totally melted the minds of both people on every end of this political spectrum.
It's all good. Hey, as long as Canadians can now go to India. Oh, wait.
Not anymore.
Goodbye.
Yeah, India was just like, vibe shift. No more visas.
Vibe shift. God, I hope by the time this episode comes out, something is different.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, there will be.
There will be.
Yeah. I'm still sick.
Oh.
Because it's only been 2 days since we recorded our last episode.
Rough out here for you.
Yeah. Also,
I feel great.
Good segue. Rough out here for the film we're about to discuss. Am I right, ladies?
Fantastic Beasts.
And where to find them.
AKA generic cows and how to milk them.
Yo, I think I said this to you, but this movie is completely false advertising because Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them just in one guy's suitcase. That's where you find every Fantastic Beast, apparently. Is in this fucking guy's suitcase.
Eddie Redmayne is kind of Luna Lovegood. He's basically that character.
A little bit. I mean, Allison's so Belle wishes she was, but she sucks so much in these films.
Is that Queenie?
Queenie.
Yeah, bro.
Really do not like her.
Goodbye, Queenie.
I can't think today about this movie. I will say, though, we talked about this earlier. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yeah.
It is a film directed by David Yates. It is written by a little lady known as J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling, speaking of people who have melted the minds of everybody. J.K. Rowling, we're going to have to talk about her. But
we don't have to, but yes.
No, we're going to talk about J.K., but we're not here to litigate her transphobia and her turfiness. Her turfdom.
Hot turf incoming.
Yeah. So if you want to, learn anything about that, I think a couple people at least have talked about that. It's been out there. You know, there's been whispers.
There's been bated breaths.
Yeah. Sometimes when J.K. Rowling's name gets brought up, some people, get angry for some reason. But J.K. Rowling is a turf and a bit of a transphobe, but we're not here to litigate that. But I do want to say something about J.K. Rowling that's kind of tertiary, and it kind of it figures into Harry Potter as a universe. Mm-hmm. So one of the reasons I think J.K. Rowling is the way she is and feels okay saying things like she has said on multiple occasions J.K. Rowling thinks she's a wizard. And
yeah. Well, she thinks she's the wizard.
She thinks that, well, quite clearly from the Harry Potter novels and films and everything, the Harry Potter extended, the Wizarding World, as Warner Bros. Would have you believe it's called, wizards are better than everyone else, despite the fact that they do horrible things and make terrible decisions, like not having, courts and shit.
Yeah.
But I think that J.K. Rowling counts herself among the wizarding folk and thinks she's better than everyone. And that's why she thinks she's untouchable to muggles. And muggles are everyone who are not as talented and successful as she is.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
She has very little love in her heart for goblins.
Certainly, yes.
But she favors anything that's shiny, whether it's in the real world or the wizarding world.
Well, I think that often her writing, the thing that I find so enjoyable about Harry Potter, and okay, so I don't think the expansion of the Harry Potter Wizarding World universe has been able to really survive the test of time very well. The way that, we've seen time and time again, something like Star Wars is also starting to show these cracks where people are like, well, it's not, as the universe expands, it's starting to be less plausible.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, and I will give it credit, the MCU is kind of the only thing that has managed to do that well.
Right.
Even though it has issues too.
Yeah.
But everything like Star Wars and Harry Potter, as the universe expands, the more it's kind of like, wait, what? Like, why? What is happening?
Exactly. Fantastic Beasts feels a bit like the Marvelization of Harry Potter.
Yeah, and so the thing that I find personally so entertaining about Harry Potter, because I'm not I wouldn't count myself among real Harry Potter fandom fucking people. Nerds.
Happy people?
Yeah.
People with joy in their hearts?
I wouldn't call the Harry Potter discourse very happy recently.
Well, that's,
But
fair.
I don't count myself among them, though I do like Harry Potter. I like the movies. You like the movies way more than I like the movies.
Yeah.
For one.
That's all
I enjoyed the
for
books. I've read them a couple times. I like them. But I'm bigger fans. I'm a bigger fan of Star Wars than Harry Potter. Right? But the thing I find so entertaining about Harry Potter, as you could probably tell watching these movies with me, is that there are so many things in it that are fun to poke fun at.
Yeah.
I was talking about the fact that every time someone does something, you'd be like, why don't they just apparate there?
every 5 minutes.
Literally every time someone walks a place, I'm like, why don't they just apparate? Because the more the universe expands, it just raises more questions than it answers. And getting back to what I think about J.K. Rowling strikes me as a person who thinks that what she's doing is so kind of brilliant in a way. And I'm not discounting her talent and the fact that she created this little wizarding fuck who changed the lives of millions of people. Not discounting that. But I do think that she thinks what she does is so brilliant and immersive and great that all of those things that she overlooks pop up and she doesn't notice them.
Right.
And she has this single-minded gaze at what she's doing, and then those things in the background come over. You're like, well, wait, what about this? What about that? What about that? And that's actually part of the entertainment to me about Harry Potter. Yeah.
And you find that all those big plot holes or stuff that's missed is more glaring in Fantastic Beasts than it is in Harry Potter?
One thing that's so funny about the Harry Potter universe to me, I'm just restating what I said, but one thing that's so funny is the blind spots in the universe, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that, one thing I always thought was and it stems from the fact that in the universe, wizards just think of themselves as better than muggles. Muggles are just bumbling fools who have somehow cobbled together this stupid society full of idiots, and yet wizards are so much more they're the first class passengers on the Titanic, and they're just so much more refined and it's so funny because for example, it's a wizard person who works for the Ministry of Magic is I just think muggles are disgusting. Anyway, I have to go step in a toilet to get to work every morning, and I literally have to flush myself into the sewer to get to work. And yet I think muggles are horrible people. And the thing we talked about in this film, where they're just like, oh, no mages are just can't believe it. Anyway, you did one small thing wrong against the law. We think you should be murdered. We think your punishment should be a summary execution in the most horrific way we can think of.
Yeah.
And it's like in the second movie where this stupid fucking librarian is like, these people are breaking into my library. I should kill them with my spirit cats. Like, it's so obtuse and silly.
It's hardcore.
Yeah. And it's that shit I find hilarious, and I love it. Like, it's still entertaining, and I
feel like it's also an excuse for human behavior that wouldn't have an outlet in polite society, and it's cool to see it come to life in Wizarding World. Like, something as extreme as murder is so easily done, but we used to do that. The Middle Ages, is that we used to do all that shit.
Is that they make all this effort to be like, oh, like muggles are so they're savage, like they're it's
right.
Like, I hate to sound like this sounds so flippant, but it's like people coming to discovering the new world and being like, these indigenous people are they're so backwards and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how wizards act towards muggles.
Right.
And yet you're right. They do these things like execute people, erase their memory, torture them to death. Yeah. And also too, and I don't know exactly how it's done in the books. I don't quite remember, but like the minister of magic is like, is he fairly elected in a democratic vote or something? But no, it just seems like he's chosen. And you know what I mean? Like, that stuff, it's so like, they have these weird draconian blind spots where you're just kind of like, this is awful. And another thing too, like, the thing I love about Hogwarts as an idea is that like they go to this school and they do stuff like potions and they do stuff like the learning about plants and stuff, and yet they learn nothing about biology or chemistry, even though clearly that has to exist at some level.
Like, potions is chemistry.
No, but like the level of potions is like, make sure you get your pounded newt and put it in the mortar and pestle correct. But it's nothing like, it doesn't get to a level any lower than that. Yeah. And like, I know I sound like such a bummer, but every time I think of Hogwarts, I'm just kind of like, listen, I know everyone wants to become an Auror and hunt dark wizards. You should probably know math. Like, math just exists. Math is a truth of the universe.
Sure.
People should learn math at wizard school.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say.
Or physics, like knowing distance and depth. And
Yeah. I know it's boring. Also, with all of the stuff that they can affect in the world, I'm kind of like, maybe they should know more about physics than really normal people would.
Maybe they do. Maybe all that base knowledge is already there.
Bro, Harry Potter is a fucking C+ student at Hogwarts, okay? He's
but
a fucking
Harry's
idiot.
an idiot overall.
Yeah.
He's not much use without any of his friends or teachers or peers. Assuming that they know their math and their physics and chemistry, any magic that speeds up the process or result is just a bonus.
No.
And they are bound by just like straight no.
Wrong.
I cancel this. But they're bound by a greater purpose of saving the world from total darkness or evil that is so overwhelming. And we do that in the real world with wars and shit, but it's not in our face to the degree that obliteration is at their face, right? Like, if Voldemort has a body, then it's over for you hoes, which it takes him 4 movies to just be like, all right, I can walk on 2 legs. So, but slowly that threat is so physically manifested that it's like one thing that guides everybody's actions towards making sure he doesn't succeed, but humanity doesn't have that. We can't even fucking sort out climate change.
You know what?
Every year it gets hotter.
Yeah, well, where are the wizards?
Where are the wizards for climate change?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
You know what? This might sound controversial, but I'll say it. I'm not afraid to say it. Voldemort's a straight bitch. Okay.
He's coming for you.
He's got no nose.
Oh my God.
Half the time his snake is doing all the work that he needs to do.
Yeah, she's a queen.
So anyway, so we're talking about Fantastic Beasts 1. We will be talking about the other 2 films for sure.
Yeah.
So you're getting a full dose of the Fantastic Beasts. I was joking earlier about the false advertising of this film being like the Fantastic Beasts are all in a suitcase. But quite honestly, these movies are not about Fantastic Beasts in the least.
They're also not about Eddie Redmayne, because who gives a shit? That guy could be there, couldn't be there, don't matter.
Well, like I said, the more interesting version of this film would be if Jacob Kowalski is the protagonist.
The Muggle.
Yeah.
Through his eyes, I think this would make for a better story.
Instead, we have 7 characters who we never really get a handle on in any way, including fucking Grindelwald, who shows up.
Infuriatingly, it is all set in a fucking New York in the 1920s.
Yeah.
American wizarding world, which you wouldn't understand until you saw the lead actress, Tina, eating a hot dog for 70% of her screen time.
Yeah.
Every time she's on screen, this bitch can't not remove a hot dog from her hand.
Oh, and also I have to apologize because last week I said that we would be doing 4 Catherine Waterston films. Apparently I'm wrong. She just gets cut out of the third one, and I didn't know that, which is
she's there
ridiculous.
For a hot second. So.
No, she's not in the third one at all. She just shows up in a picture. You told me.
Just in the end, she's like, hello, goodbye. Movie over.
Yeah.
No-mage is the stupidest fucking word.
I know.
It's the most thoughtless, just unmeasured, unthinking storytelling.
And that's the thing that I find so strange about J.K. Rowling is that, like, sometimes you're just like, do you suck at what you do, or are you great at it? Like, I can't tell, because the thing is that some things how she writes, some things are brilliant.
Yeah.
And some things are just so brain dead stupid that you're like, the thing about no-mage that confused me is I'm like, okay, is no-mage as a term a crack at American wizards that they can't come up with a creative term for non-magic users?
Yes.
Or is it just a stupid term that J.K. Rowling came up with?
I really hope it is the former. Because at least then she's being a bitch. Then she's being like kind of cocky with her shit. Like, oh, you want to set it in America? I'll show you Americans thing. Their ministry is called Makuza, like the Japanese.
Mac USA.
Mac USA. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, non-magic as no-mage? Come on.
What's
now.
wrong with Muggle? Just what's wrong with Muggle, bro? But like Muggles is like the term that they use in Britain, and then they don't use it in the... And I'm just kind of like... I'm like, this is... Even us talking about this is like way more attention than needs to be paid for it, because it's like such a non-issue.
Such a throwaway.
But every time I hear it in the movies, in all 3 movies, I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up. I hate it.
So much.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The issue, the biggest issue I have with this movie is just how it's just not structured like a film.
No.
That drives me insane. And
which is shocking coming from David Yates, because
David Yates is a great director.
that guy can put it together.
The other thing is, every time I've seen a trailer for these films, I've been like, that looks fucking sick. And then every time they come out, people are like, that was a waste of my life and time. As you said, there was one review on IMDb that was fuck you and fuck this movie, which is succinctly, and I'm not that vicious. I think the first one is not bad. The second one is better and not bad, and the third one I haven't finished, but it's good so far.
Yes, it does get progressively better, but only marginally.
Yeah.
And there's going to be 5 of these bitches.
Actually, there is not so far, because I think Warner Bros. JK said 5, but in 2016 she said 5. She was like, 5 is the plan. Whatever. She said some other stuff too. She said 5 is the plan, and then Warner Bros. Said the future of the Wizarding World franchise kind of depends on the critical and commercial success of Secrets of Dumbledore. As of 2022, there was reporting that it's kind of stalled at Warner Bros. And I think the reason is they were like, yeah, we want to focus on films that people want to see.
Yeah, thank God. Which might be the Harry Potter TV show.
Yeah, it was either that or they were too busy trying to launch Max by HBO, the place to watch HBO on Max by HBO. So, which took up a lot of their time in the past year.
Furious. Yeah. Great.
Max. Yeah, so currently no future, although that, you're right, the Wizarding World TV show was announced. But it's a straight adaptation of
Harry
HP,
Potter.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a thing that's going to happen.
I'm fucking psyched, dude. I'm pumped.
It's not the worst idea in the world, considering how every time a Fantastic Beasts movie came out, people were like, we hate this.
Yeah. We do it for the thrill of the music, and even that only barely sustains us.
Everyone I know who like went to see the movie against their better judgment was like,
God.
I feel like you're torturing me.
I want to go knock on her door and be like, you owe me 300 rupees for the fucking time I spent at the cinemas, and I'm going to use that money and buy Eddie Redmayne some tinted chapstick, motherfuckers. Dude. Dry? Yo, chap your lips. Eddie.
Wow.
Sorry.
Shots fired, Eddie.
Come on, man. Like, look, sharpen up. Shit.
Yeah. Your lips need to be a little more kissable.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, so on the other hand, this movie's all right. It's okay. So do you want to talk about the plot? Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, I think shockingly this movie is 2.5 hours long. I saw this hours before record, like today. I saw it
Not for
the
first time though.
Not even for the first time.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and already I'm having trouble being like, all right. So they wake up and they're like, in America.
You're gonna have to help me through this because honestly, like
let's freaking do it.
The plot is like simple, but it has huge problems, which make it annoying to talk about. And I think, like I said to you, is like the parts in this movie in separate little aspects are all good. It's just not structured the way a movie is structured because the major incident happens 1 hour into the film. Everything else leading up to that is just a big fuck around. It's a big jape.
Goops,
yeah.
Goops.
And it's all because of that little money horny platypus,
which
the
man,
Niffler,
kill that shit to death.
Who I want to fucking just put in my pouch.
God, I thought this was going somewhere else.
I want to put that platypus in my pouch.
I want to beat it, like curb stomp that little shit.
That scene though, when he's stuffing the gold bar into his little money pouch, is pretty adorable.
Slam it on the
And when
head.
he's standing in the window with his arm out.
I wish he would die.
Jewels. Why do you hate Niffler?
'Cause he's called Niffler.
It's the species, actually. Okay?
I'm triggered.
And guys, I just want to say right now, don't get a Niffler because they cause problems everywhere you go. And we'll see that in the next film.
Unless you're poor, and then you'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
No, because then it's just you got to give that back when they all find all of that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
1926,
1926. This is okay. Here's another problem.
Yeah.
Grindelwald doing a bunch of shit on the newspaper is like, "Hey, Grindelwald, blah blah blah," and then just we don't see him.
We don't see him. So the scene opens with a bunch of newspaper clippings of what's going on with Grindelwald, and one of the
Du est Grindelwald.
One of the fucking ads is about a wanted ginger witch. Like it's a crime.
Who is that a reference to?
Ah, man, fuck knows. It could be any of the Weasleys. Who cares?
Yeah, it's like a Weasley.
It could be any of anyone's. But the point is, gingers have it hard in the real world. And in the wizarding world.
It's so funny how like J.K. Rowling knows just mentioning gingers it means that everyone will be like, we know one family of gingers and they're the biggest ginger family in England. And it's like, surely they're not the only ones.
Not going to let them have a moment of peace.
No. So 1926 New York, Newt Scamander. For fuck's sake, he's getting off a boat to New York and it's like, bitch, take a port key. Okay. Surely the wizarding world has a better fucking thing.
Of course.
Yeah. Jesus.
I bet there's like limited port keys and limited flue powder to let you do that, and maybe
I think they take a lot like a lot of energy to make a port key.
Yeah,
and you have to do it like specifically and specially. But it's like, come on, dude! Like, surely the ministries of magic have like a cross border kind of thing, right?
That should be their bullet train.
Which honestly, that would solve a lot of the issues that crop up in this movie with Newt Scamander entering the country with a suitcase full of monsters.
Maybe portkey apparition travel is bad for wizard environment. Have you thought about that? Maybe that leaves a carbon footprint that no witchcraft can erase.
Thanks, wizards, you fucks.
You're welcome. The scene opens with Mary Lou Barebone, who's a nomage, a fucking muggle.
Mm-hmm. First in a long line of actresses who are playing a different nationality, and it's inexplicably playing the...
It keeps happening.
Yep.
She's the head of the New Salem Philanthropic Society.
Oh, yeah.
Second Salem.
The second Salems.
Who
Stupid.
are against witches. Classic. They're like, oh no, witch.
Hate 'em.
Bad news. Hate them.
Yeah.
She's doing this huge speech in front of a courthouse.
Bank.
Ministry bank. Yep.
A bank.
Oh, yeah, it's a bank. It's a bank. And Eddie Redmayne shows up. And she looks at him. She's like, you, sir. Wait, she's not English.
Yes. She's pointedly not
you
English.
ain't no a dog in it.
No, an American accent is more like,
yeah, Mr. Redmayne,
Hey,
what are you doing here?
what are you doing
yeah,
here?
that's how Americans sound.
And he's like, I'm Stephen Hawking. I'm just here with a briefcase.
Redmayne is good in this. I like Redmayne. I like his casting.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Redmayne does most Redmayne ever. He stays Eddie.
He's the right guy for this role. I think he's good.
He's a taller Luna Lovegood, like I said before. He's very much that energy.
Yeah, so he's there. Why is he there to go to the bank, though?
He's not wanting to go into the bank. He's just passing by, I think, and then the little fucking teddy bear platypus shithole thing jumps out of his suitcase.
Jesus.
Because it sees a coin, or it senses shiny
Typical,
stuff.
yeah.
And then it bolts into the bank, and that starts a series of events where everybody is like, oh no.
Yeah. So he goes into the bank, and also so does Jacob Kowalski, who's a nomad looking for a loan to open his bakery. He's a former, he's a World War I veteran back in New York, wants to open his bakery. His pastries look fucking awesome. I like Dan Fogler. I think he's good in this.
Yeah, he's great in
this. He's good. Then he obviously... The thing, too, is like as soon as you see that they have the same suitcase, you're like, when are those going to get mixed up?
And also they do a pan shot at everybody else in the bank, and a lot of people have the same suitcase.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that.
It like just even on the floor or some lady holding it. Apparently it's the Gucci bag of its time.
Must have been the fashion, yeah. So, and then Catherine Waterston is there. She's spying on the second Salems because she's an American order.
Yeah.
She follows Redmayne because she's like, this little stupid platypus bitch
what
is
he
problems.
doing? Yeah. Make orders great again.
Eventually, Redmayne and Kowalski end up in the vault of this bank, and Redmayne apparates Kowalski out away from trouble, basically. And Catherine Waterston is like, hey, stop fucking around.
What are you doing? Doing magic in front of a non-mage.
Yeah. And I will say, as I said to you, this whole like bank sequence is like so clearly written by someone who was like at one point didn't have enough money to worry too much about banking, and then had way too much money to ever worry too much about banking, because like it just feels like, oh, who do people hate? The banks. Ooh, you can't get a loan, Jacob. Banks are mad. Yeah.
When Jacob's sitting there trying to get a loan to open his bakery, the banker is obviously a robot, Elon Musk, who's like, but what about collateral?
Yeah, which is like clearly... It makes me question Jacob Kowalski's faculties that he didn't know he needed collateral to take out a loan.
He brought baked goods. He's like,
yeah, but he was just bringing them to like how naive is this fucking guy?
Yeah.
But I will point out another thing, and I haven't done any historical research. This guy is a veteran of the Great War, and he doesn't get like some kind of special treatment because people got like the GI Bill after World War II. So I don't know. Like,
maybe by World War I, you get head injuries, and if you're lucky, you get sent home.
You get a lot of those, yeah, for sure. But Jacob Kowalski.
But he got to go home and work in a fucking can factory, so yay, thumbs up.
It. And then...
so their bags get switched between Jacob and Eddie Redmayne.
Yeah, and Jacob goes home, and Redmayne and Waterston go to the Macusa.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry, we skipped the part... This is going to be a really bad plot, guys. Where there's also a beast on the loose that Colin Farrell is looking for. This is why this plot is so bad, is because it just doesn't make any... There's
no linear movement.
And okay, so Colin Farrell's looking for a beast that trashed this building. And Samantha Morton, head of the Second Salem Witches, she has a son named Credence, played by Ezra Miller, the second in a long line of problematic people in this film, who is an abused young child.
Yeah.
That's kind of all you need to know for the first hour.
The president of the Salem Witchcraft Club, brooms and all, she has several foster kids. She doesn't seem to be a fan of any of them. And she sends them out to like put out witches or burn them pamphlets across
like
his
persecute
house.
magic users.
And she's pretty shitty to all her kids.
She's
Classic Cinderella stepmom.
Yeah.
So
it's hella Republican. Yeah.
Jacob is in his building and he's like, I'm going to open my suitcase of cakes and eat one of them. And turns out, huzzah, it's all the beasts. And he sets them loose.
Fucking every beast.
Fantastically everywhere in the world now.
Yeah. And now, fantastic beasts and where to find them? Well, New York. Really.
Really?
City of.
Yeah.
The whole city.
Very fantastic.
Covered in fantastic beasts.
My God.
What the fuck happens now? There's like long sequences where Redmayne and Waterston and Kowalski kind of have to, and Alison Sobel.
Yeah.
Alison Sobel playing Waterston's sister, Queenie. Who's a legerdman. She can read minds. They have to go recapture all of these beasts.
They have to go find every single beast, put it back in the suitcase.
And they go and there's just a bunch of japes and jokes about recapturing all these beasts.
Yeah.
And then the movie finally kicks into gear when a thing murders this politician.
Right.
That's when the movie really kind of starts.
Right.
And the American Aurors, led by Colin Farrell.
Well, what really just happens before that is Tina, who's a part of the Auror ministry, whatever, she assumes that all the creatures are back in the suitcase, so she takes it to the ministry. She goes into Makusa with it. But they're like...
And it's full of Eddie Redmayne and Jacob
There's
Kowalski.
a thing out there killing, politician children and all the muggles. So
John Voight is in this.
John Voight.
It's fucking nuts.
My God. And yeah, wow. So she opens a suitcase in front of all the ministry members, and up pop Eddie Redmayne and Jacob.
Dude, can you imagine if you accidentally picked up the wrong bag at the airport and you opened it and Eddie Redmayne was in it?
Embarrassing.
That'd be the worst.
It'd be embarrassing.
Just like on vacation, you're like, oh.
With your dry ass lips, you put on some chapstick.
Fucking halfway across the world, I gotta bring Eddie Redmayne with me.
Damn it, Mr.
Just,
Boring chat.
Babe, on our honeymoon, we gotta triple check the bags. Okay. God.
Please make sure there's no Eddies in there.
No risk of Eddie Redmayne being in there.
Damn it. So the ministry thinks that one of Newt Scamander or Eddie Redmayne's creatures is doing all the murders.
Yeah, which, to be honest, is kind of fair because the man
Of
who
course.
carries monsters in his suitcase is probably the one who let one loose to kill people. Not to mention, the thing that eventually is the thing that killed the man, he has one in his suitcase.
Yeah.
Literally has one in his suitcase.
Yeah.
So... Which is a fucking stupid plot point.
Why
fucking
are there
so stupid.
two obscurials?
The thing that drives me crazy about this, and this is the part where I'm like, JK, why is this so dumb?
Yeah.
So we learn later that Jacob sees this floating black, cool looking special effects thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, what is that? It is the thing out of my nightmares. And Eddie Redmayne is like, it's called an obscurial.
Mm-hmm.
They possess people and make them do evil things. They're bad. But I captured this one. And it turns out he got it from a little girl. He got it from a little girl in Sudan because she was possessed by this thing, which makes them do evil things, makes them do evil magic shit. So he has an obscurial in his suitcase.
Yeah.
Later, this invisible force kills this politician. Turns out it's also an obscurial.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like, why do we need two? Literally, this obscurial in the suitcase is just there to explain what it is before it happens. When a more interesting plot would be if the obscurial got out of that suitcase and killed the man
and possessed someone else, and
like
because
every fucking thing else gets out of the suitcase. So why doesn't that obscurial? Am I missing something?
There's a little red herring where it's like, oh, one of those Salem kids, because the first obscurial was pulled from a little girl in Sudan. Maybe this obscurial also lives in a little girl in New York City.
Yeah,
and it makes the audience think that, all right, every time you see a little girl, run the fuck away. Which is good practice in real life, too.
Yeah. And that one second Salem little girl is pretty fucking evil.
Yeah.
Anyway, Catherine Waterston and Eddie Redmayne are sentenced to death after no trial by Colin Farrell, which makes sense later when Colin Farrell is revealed to be someone else. But at the time, you're just kind of like, what fucking draconian backwards system is this?
Amazing.
They get out of that. They get out of that little scrape.
Of course they do.
Colin Farrell figures out that the obscurial is Credence, Ezra Miller.
Yes.
And then he goes apeshit all over New York, which is great.
All the effects involving an obscurial are fantastic.
Across these three films, many of the action sequences are wonderful.
Wonderful.
They're like creative. The one in Secrets of Dumbledore that you and I have both talked about, we'll talk about it, is really fantastic.
So
I really like. Yeah, so Ezra Miller goes ape shit all over New York.
Yep.
He ends up in the subway.
Yes.
Not the store, the actual subway.
It's like, I demanded a foot long. Rah!
This episode is brought to you by Subway restaurants.
Green Goddess dressing.
You can get a sandwich as long as your wand.
Hey.
Your wand, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
I'll take a salad.
So you can get a bowl as big as your wand.
Yeah, 2 bowls.
So yeah, and so then Eddie Redmayne, Colin Farrell is kind of like, hey, hey, Obscurial, you're killing stuff. I want to work with you.
Let's get
And
into
Eddie
bed.
Redmayne is like, I want to
Control you.
get the Obscurial out of
Yeah.
Credence and stick him back in my suitcase because I'm the Fantastic Beast controller, man.
I got the suitcase, man. That's my whole thing.
Yeah. That's a line from the film, actually. He's like,
Yeah.
the suitcase is my whole thing.
That's my whole
Sorry.
thing.
Sorry. It's, oi, the suitcase, it's my whole thing. And
And then Colin Farrell in his Irish accent says,
no, he's
Nar!
Colin Farrell's doing an American accent in this film.
Yeah.
Yet
But
another
in
casting.
my heart,
Yeah.
in my mind.
What's your suitcase? Yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Well done.
What's
yeah.
in your suitcase, Eddie? Yeah, and then Colin Farrell kind of shows up, gets Eddie Redmayne out of the way, and then, sorry, you have to remind me, what happens here?
Wait, he gets him out of the suitcase? Wait.
Redmayne is trying to help Credence in the subway.
Correct. So.
He's like, you pick the bread first, and then the vegetable. Toasted, not
Get
toasted.
the cheese on it.
And because
No.
Credence is he's been abused his whole life. He has a
That's
hard
right.
time interacting with people.
And he can't reconcile whether he should listen to the nice, sweet words of Tina, who's trying to be like, Credence, I know you've suffered. Like, you don't have to cause havoc in the city. You've destroyed everything that you've run through. And meanwhile, Colin Farrell's character is like, don't listen to this bitch. Come out, we could be homies. Like, let's you and me partner up. We could be the SWAT cats. And while these two are trying to talk to Credence, the whole ministry kind of arrives. And they're like, we're going to kill this guy. And everybody fucking goes classic New York City cop style fucking brop into Ezra Miller's
they
empty
do some
head.
They do some classic wizard stuff where they're just like, there's a problem
Yeah.
and we're gonna solve it by killing a person.
And then basically the ministry kills Credence, obliterating the
Obscurial, but not Credence, because Credence.
We don't know that.
Do we not know that by the end of this movie? Spoiler alert, he shows up in the next film.
And of course, Colin Farrell, incensed, like, my God, you killed one of your own? You're killing a magical, weird, gray cloud of a thing, which is Ezra in real life, to be honest. Causing havoc in New York City over what? In order to protect a muggle? Like, who came up with that rule? So that is where his whole pure blood.
And then, does Eddie Redmayne, does Newt realize who he is? Because doesn't Newt be like, oi, you're not Colin Farrell.
That's right.
You're someone else.
He does a little revelio.
But does he know that? Like, how does he figure that out?
I don't know how he knows that.
It's so weird.
I think because of the way Colin Farrell talks, he's supposed to just do a bureaucratic thing. Meanwhile, he's very, very Nazi adjacent with the pureblood chat.
Yeah.
Nobody in the ministry really feels that way out loud or talks about it or addresses it in the movie. But he obviously has like a dark aura around
They need
him.
a diversity, equity, and inclusion manager.
That I'm telling you. It goes the distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they reveal Colin Farrell's downgrade into Johnny fucking Depp. Who was Grindelwald the whole time.
Johnny Albino Depp.
It's a sick look for him. I'll tell you what.
Actually, and that's our third problematic person in the film.
Yes.
I hate the way he looks in this movie, and I wish he would have been more effective if he didn't look like a member of Marilyn Manson. Yeah, you know, I wish that they had done something different with his look.
Oh, man. Yeah. Sadly, almost the whole city of New York is destroyed and nothing can save. Oh, wait, they send a fucking bird into space to Men in Black the whole town and everybody...
Some real post 9/11 vibes here. Yeah.
Everyone's like, nothing happened. It's raining. We're all glad.
That's the thing is like, they're like, oh man, everything's broken, but good thing we're wizards and we can clean everything up.
And they do.
And then but you know what? It's another kind of like insidious, like those fucking no mages should thank us for how fucking thoughtful we are.
We're generous. with our
Yeah.
witchcraft.
We make a mess everywhere else, but we'll clean up your city, especially when it's our fucking fault that we wrecked the whole thing.
What I do kind of think back on is like, would I rather have gone without seeing these films or have no kind of new revision adjacent to Harry Potter movies? And I always say no, because it's kind of like Lord of the Rings, right? Any amount of time you spend in Middle Earth is like time well spent. So if you do it in a similar way in a wizarding world,
Yeah.
where it's even like close enough, it's still
I
good
guess
enough.
so.
It's still good enough.
I think that one issue with the wizarding world is if you make the smallest, tiniest infraction, they literally will murder you. No, I mean, I know what you mean. Like the thing, okay, but like Lord of the Rings, right? We are one of the 10% of people on Amazon Prime who watched all of Rings of Power. And it was okay. I didn't think it was.
It got so good towards the end.
It got better.
Yeah.
I think when the new season of that comes out, I'm going to rewatch season 1.
100%.
I didn't mind it. And the thing is, though, they are drawing upon all of this work that J.R. Tolkien already did.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're making it a little more movified. There's some stuff in it that they have to expand upon. But it's good enough. I mean, the thing that's like most appalling about the Lord of the Rings universe is the fact that The Hobbit was a perfectly good book that they somehow managed to turn into some terrible films.
Oh my God.
Whereas like with this though, I just like, I don't know. It's funny that J.K. said there would be 5 films.
Yeah.
Because one of the big critiques I have of the 3 films that we've watched is that you're like, ooh, okay, like Fantastic Beasts and where to find them, Newt Scamander. Interesting. Like maybe this will take on kind of a different thing. The Harry Potter was about a dark wizard who was a fascist and a totalitarian, and he hated people different than him. Maybe this will kind of explore a different facet of and it's like, nope, this is about a dark wizard who hates other people and is a fascist and totalitarian. And it's like, well, why? And then you're like, then why is Newt Scamander the main character? Why don't we just tell the story of young Dumbledore? Like, fucking just come on. Later, when they cast Jude Law, you're just like, why isn't he in all of this film all the time?
Exactly.
Because honestly, we all want to fuck him. Like, let's
everybody wants to fuck Jude Law.
Put it on the table
dude.
now. I'm gonna give you that little tidbit in this episode, but I'm gonna repeat it next episode. We all want to fuck Jude Law. Everybody does. We've seen Talented Mr. Ripley. Matt Damon knew it.
Fantastic.
He wanted to F him so bad he killed him to death. That's how much he wanted to F him. More than Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh yeah.
Goop Queen of the Wizarding universe.
Never say Goop Queen ever again.
I'll say it.
Because now our algorithm's fucked and we're gonna keep getting ads. God damn it.
You know what? Our algorithms are fucked, and it's the Wizard's fault. So anyway, this movie is fine.
Jude Law, 10 out of 10. Beasts. All right.
Yeah.
Are they fantastic? I would say no. They are all right beasts.
I fully expected
some are schmeh beasts, and where to find them.
I fully expected like the second movie to be a lot worse, and I actually think it's better than this movie.
and progressively gets better. So stay with us, audience.
Yeah.
It's still better. It's better than the last one.
Okay.
Or this one. Part 2. Still good.
Grab your port key and zip along.
Take the regular train.
Why? You can apparate. I'm sorry, but you can apparate wherever you want, babe.
You're going to be so surprised when they keep taking more trains as these movies progress.
Oh my God.
There's fewer apparitions. More public transit. It's a good message.
And I have one last question for you.
What?
Is soccer the Muggle Quidditch?
As it opens, does that really fucking happen?
There on one of the newspapers, there's like a little like op-ed headline that's like, "Soccer, is it the Muggle Quidditch?" And it's like soccer's been around for like 40 years at that point. I don't know. It's just so goofy.
I missed it.
Yeah, it's silly.
The answer is yes.
Yeah. It kind of belies how fucking unserious the journalism in the wizarding world is. Everything written by Rita Skeeter. Come on, fucking dopes.
I know. When is the Harry Potter world?
It was 2018. No, I don't know. It's set like, when is it set?
Yeah, because this is 1920s.
It's set in the mid 90s to 2000s.
Got it. So
like the time when the books were written ostensibly.
Oh right, yeah. Because there's zoos and stuff.
There was
zoos.
Zoos in like the Victorian era.
There's zoos, yeah.
Those books, they can't really place them in time because they literally don't pay attention to anything happening in the real world. Whereas in these ones, that's kind of a difference. In these ones, they talk about like World War One.
Yeah, they do.
And there's some plot points having to do with World War II coming up. So some heavy Hitler energy happening in the next few films.
It's also an international film because they do a lot of traveling outside of America.
Yeah, they go across the British Channel. They go back to England. They go back across the British Channel. They go to Austria.
Hey, save some for the next one.
Sorry, I just gave away the entire plot.
Oh no!
Go to London. They
Fantastic
go to Paris.
Beasts. They're all in a
Austria.
passport.
Anyway,
yeah.
Let's finish this. There's plenty more to come.
Yes. And it's gonna get better. Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
It's been the low ceiling.
It has been the low ceiling. It will continue to be next week when we ultimately forget to say this again.
I'm Pri.
I'm Jon. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Wizarding World.
Jesus Christ.
What's in your suitcase, Mr. Potter?
What would be an alternate title for this? Mediocre Beasts? Beasts are fun.
Well, this one should be called The Crimes of Grindelwald. We know that. Anyway, goodbye. Thank you for listening. Bye.